If The Mandalorian's plummeting viewership wasn't enough, this iceberg may finally sink the ship.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
The Mandalorian is more than halfway through its third season. Previously, we discussed how The Mandalorian has lost more than half of its audience since its debut. After that, we discussed the plummeting review scores, and now fans have a new reason to abandon The Mandalorian. In streaming, shows are tallied by streaming minutes. Season 2 of The Mandalorian debuted with over 1 billion minutes streamed during its first week of the season. According to some reports, Season 3 dropped by over 200 million minutes streamed, meaning there's a lot less time spent watching The Mandalorian Season 3 than there was Mandalorian Season 2. As the show continues to fizzle out each week, fans voice their displeasure online. Star Wars fans are divided over The Mandalorian's celebrity cameos. The Mandalorian's surprising celebrity cameos have fans wondering if this is the way for the series to go, attracting mixed reactions across the internet. On Twitter, Star Wars lovers let their feelings known after The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 6, Chapter 22, Guns for Hire, dropped April 5th. Among the many directions The Mandalorian's latest episode takes fans in is the inclusion of Back to the Future's Christopher Lloyd, comedic actor Jack Black, and Grammy Award-winning singer Lizzo. While Lloyd's involvement was rumored over a year ago, Black and Jefferson's features raised some eyebrows, leading to a divided social media response. One fan claimed the episode felt more like an SNL special, while another called it the craziest, silliest, funniest, most Star Wars episode of The Mandalorian. What was up with all the Mandalorian cameos? It was like an SNL special. I don't usually talk about Star Wars, but the newest episode of The Mandalorian is the most bizarre and fun episode of the entire show. The cameos shocked me so much. I didn't think The Mandalorian could get worse, and it did. Din is incompetent, Bo is the bestest ever, overloaded with useless cameos. I was one of the last people rooting for this show, and now I could care less. What was even the point of this season? LMAO, The Mandalorian has collapsed completely in on itself. No storyline this season, just cheap celebrity cameos and Filoni characters popping in to wave at the camera. The most disappointing episode of The Mandalorian Season 3 so far. Pointless plot, silly cameos just to get some famous people on the show. It's just frustrating when they have had years to plan and plot the direction of the show. Where's the overall story going with only 2 episodes left? Plot and structure in The Mandalorian leaving the room when cameos and camp come into the picture. TV cameos are fun, but these are distracting fans from enjoying The Mandalorian. As the show continues to decline in popularity, fans ponder how Lucasfilm can justify pointless moments in the series like this. Since the second season, fans have voiced displeasure when an episode lacks focus. They find it disturbing that the main character is no longer the focus of the show. The latest chapter of The Mandalorian gives voice to something we've been wondering for a while. Is Pedro Pascal's Din Djarin actually the main character of the series anymore? In the first 2 seasons, he's ostensibly the Mandalorian the title refers to, but more and more, Din feels like a supporting character in the grand scheme of things. Chapter 22 makes a strong case for the idea that Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan is the show's real protagonist. Din Djarin undergoes a clear character arc in the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. He starts out as a lone gunfighter, a wandering Ronin who plies his trade and slowly assembles his suit of Beskar armor. Encountering Grogu is the catalyst that shakes up Din's world and forces him to care about someone other than himself. Over the course of these 2 seasons, Din comes to embrace his unlikely role as a father, and the idea that some things are more important than the Mandalorian creed. Din's arc culminates in the penultimate episode of Season 2, where he willingly unmasks himself in order to uncover the information needed to track down Grogu. By the end of Season 2, when Din reluctantly hands Grogu over to Luke Skywalker, his Star Wars journey feels complete. How else does he need to grow as a character? That's a question the series has yet to really answer for Season 3. For one thing, the Book of Boba Fett backpedaled immediately by reuniting Din and Grogu and effectively undoing his powerful sacrifice from Season 2. It's not even clear why it was so important to bring Grogu back into the picture. He's been little more than a silly background character for the majority of Season 3. Other than recruiting Bo-Katan to save Din back in Episode 2, Grogu could almost be written out of the show entirely, with no real impact to the plot. He feels like a character who's present more because the fans expect it than because he's actually needed. Nor has the series established a clear path forward for Din himself. What is the next great hurdle for him now that he's embraced fatherhood and learned to put family above creed? For a while, it seems as though the series might pivot Din's reluctant rise to the new leader of Mandalore. But by now, it's obvious he's not the one being positioned to unite Mandalorians and rebuild their shattered world. The Book of Boba Fett also introduced a subplot involving Din's inability to properly wield the Darksaber. In his clumsy, untrained hand, the blade becomes heavy and cumbersome. The Darksaber becomes a metaphor for Din's inner doubts and reluctance to embrace his destiny. Or at least his destiny as we perceived it as the audience. Season 3 veers into a different direction, not by having Din embrace the destiny, but by having him hand off the Darksaber to another. So who is Din Djarin now, and what does he want? What's standing in his way? About all we have left is Din's quest to build IG-11, and it's unclear whether or not he's given up after being told the repair is impossible. And in any case, bringing back an old character following their heroic sacrifice is just another example of the series clinging to the past rather than trying to chart new courses forward. The change is reflective in viewership. As the show focuses less and less on the main character, the audience is tuning out. The latest season of The Mandalorian is not only seeing viewers tune out of the show en masse, but viewers who do happen to continue to slog through each episode are giving the series some of its worst ratings yet, with the most recent episode featuring Lizzo and Jack Black currently holding the crown for the worst reviewed episode. The Mandalorian Chapter 22, Guns for Hire, currently has a mediocre 6.8 audience score on IMDb. Not only is this the worst score for the season, it is the worst rating for the entire series. This latest episode unseated Chapter 19, The Convert, that was previously the lowest rated episode with a 7.1 on IMDb. Season 3 premiere, Chapter 17, The Apostate, was previously tied with Chapter 5, The Gunslinger, for the worst rated episode with a 7.5. With just 6 episodes released so far in the current season, 3 of them are the worst reviewed of the entire series. Chapter 20, The Foundling, also received a subpar 7.8 score, which is the 6th worst rated episode of the entire series, with Chapter 4, Sanctuary, slipping in between it and The Gunslinger. It's not just users on IMDb giving The Mandalorian its worst reviews ever. On Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score slipped from Season 1 posting an audience score of 92 and Season 2 with a 91. In contrast, Season 3 has an abysmal 65% score. As mentioned earlier in this video, these declining user scores on both IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes coincide with a drop in people actually watching the show as well. Nielsen recently reported during the week of the Season 3 premiere that the entire series only pulled in 823 million streaming minutes. In contrast to the Season 2 premiere, Nielsen reported the series ranked in 1,030 minutes viewed. Ironically, the one element of Disney Star Wars fans love seems to be taking a backseat to many other characters. Season 2's focus on everything but Din really set into action a series of events that have damaged the once popular show. With other Star Wars characters failing to make the impact of The Mandalorian getting more attention, one has to wonder how the future of Star Wars will look moving forward. After the abysmal performance of Star Wars merchandise during the sequel trilogy era, The Mandalorian acted as a collector's reset button, and the show and the merchandise skyrocketed in popularity. With the creative choices to focus on other characters like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka, The Mandalorian was effectively neutered, and fans are tuning out. So folks, what do you think of today's video? 3 questions for today. 1. Are you watching The Mandalorian Season 3? 2. Do you enjoy it compared to the other 2 seasons? And 3. What do you think of the celebrity cameos / distractions from the main character Din Djarin? You've heard what I had to say in the official video, but I do enjoy that character, and the less I see of him, the less I want to watch this show. And millions of other people feel the exact same way, so I want to know what you guys think. But folks, I am back from WrestleMania. You can check out all the social media posts to see how the show went, how the event was, the meetup, etc. It's all there. It was a lot of fun. Admittedly, we didn't do too much streaming because we were having too much fun and I didn't want to hold a camera the entire time on my face. So, folks, come to these meetups, hang out with us, get involved with the community, and folks, make sure you join us on all of our live shows where you can get all the community updates and more, including me sharing some wonderful special gifts from our audience. So, folks, thank you for watching. I'll be back next time with more. But in the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Thanks for watching today's video. Yes, it's over, but don't cry because there's more, a lot more from World Class Bullshitters. And there's only one way to get it. Hit that subscribe button below. When you do that, you'll get notifications and updates from World Class Bullshitters every time we go live. Basically, you won't miss anything. And if there's one thing I hate, it's FOMO. But the thing most people hate more than FOMO is fear of missing out on World Class Bullshitters, because there's just some things you can't undo. So folks, do yourselves a favor and never miss anything from World Class Bullshitters. One last thing before you go, hit the thumbs up button. Not for our egos, no, they're big enough as this, but it does help us fight the algorithm here, and well, it's man versus machine, and that's the real fight. But if that's not your battle, that's okay. There's one last way you can help WCBS, and that's going over to shopwcbs.com, picking up a t-shirt, a beer glass, a sweatshirt, a poster, all sorts of ways to back WCBS. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is I'm the artist that makes all this stuff, so if you enjoy art beyond t-shirts, you can even read our comic books. We got it all. We're called the epitome of pop culture for a reason, and no, again, it's not for our egos. So folks, make sure you're involved with every aspect of World Class Bullshitters, not just for us, but do it for yourself. We're making the change in entertainment everybody out there wants to see. And a special thank you goes out to all of our wonderful patrons who make this content possible. Go to patreon.com/worldclassbs to get involved and help out the channel.